guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a drama from Australia, English language, released in the year 2015, directed by Ariel Kleiman, and this film is called Partisan. So the story of Partisan is set in a very secluded community. You've got Gregori, who is this charismatic leader of this little group of people. You've got these broken women who have had babies, and Gregori has promised to look after them, so he takes them to this little community that he's built, and he's telling these women and these young children that the outside world is very dangerous. So it has a Manson sort of family-like cult figure that this guy is portraying, but he seems to genuinely care about these people and he's trying to protect them. So Alexander is the bright light out of these children. Gregori sees Alexander as basically his son. He takes him on and he's saying that he's the bright light of the future, that he can carry out what Gregori says the best. So Alexander looks up to Gregori, but then after a while, when Gregori tells him to do some things, he starts to develop a conscience and he starts to second guess what he's doing, whether or not it's right. So he starts to defy Gregori's orders, and this brings a lot of conflict, and it threatens to destabilise the whole community that Gregori spent so much time trying to build up. So whether or not the whole community just self-implodes is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Partisan. This is a very, very intriguing and very, very peculiar Australian film. Now, it doesn't follow a standard plot. It doesn't follow generic sort of devices. It is a movie that shows a lot of confidence from a director that hasn't made a feature film before. And that's absolutely unbelievable, because this guy has so much confidence in himself, Ariel Kleiman, that it actually seems like he's a veteran director with a lot of feature films under his belt. So for the fact that it is his first feature, it just shows how talented this guy is, and he is definitely a director to really look out for in the future, especially for Australian cinema. We need directors like this, because there are so many Australian films out there that just don't have the balls to be different, don't have the balls to follow anything that's not generic, and they just all feel like made for TV films. But this movie, it actually feels like a movie that is appealing to a wider audience because it's so different. It's a very surreal film. It's set in a world where it feels like a different dimension. It feels like it's set in Australia, but it doesn't look like Australia. It looks like on the horizon there are these buildings that are all decayed, and you think to yourself, is this the Middle East, or is this Australia, or is this just a completely different dimension, or is it symbolising the thought process of the main character of Gregori? Basically, he's telling these kids and his followers that the outside world is dangerous, don't go out there. So this little community looks like paradise. It's very fresh, it's very colourful, but the outside world is very decayed and dark. So it feels like maybe that's a symbolisation of Gregori's words, and you're actually looking at it through his eyes. You're looking at it through this community's eyes, in saying that, yeah, I can put myself into the character's shoes and really understand what they're feeling. So it's a very visual film, and it's a very striking film. And as I said, I liked it as much as I did because it doesn't follow a generic formula. It is trying to be different, it's taking a lot of risks, but at the same time it's reining itself in, and it's not being pretentious. At no stage do you think that this movie is full of itself. You just think that this is a very ballsy director, and for that I have to congratulate Ariel Kleiman. So it is a movie about tormented people and how corrupt these people can be. And Gregori's character, played brilliantly by Vincent Cassel, he was a very torn up person. You never know what's happened in his past, but you know his past is connected to who he is now. And so you always got those questions, but these unanswered questions, they don't irritate you, but that's basically what keeps the film going, and you can draw your own conclusions up, and it's a movie that really does reward the viewer's intelligence, and it's not force-feeding anything to you. So it's done in a very subtle way, but it's got a very creepy sort of tone to it that makes it both a beautiful film but a very uneasy film at the same time. So the acting, as I said, was brilliant from Vincent Cassel. English is not his first language, obviously French is, but the language, it doesn't get in the way of his acting. This guy is very natural in everything he does, and I thought Gregori's character was phenomenal. He wasn't an evil guy. He had sinister sort of an undertone to him, but you could genuinely feel that he was warm. He was very caring for the people that he was looking after, but you sense that, yeah, there was something in his past that makes him a little bit of a dodgy individual, but you actually felt like these children and these broken women were safe in the community. So it's a very charismatic character, and it's a very complex character. It's not standard sort of, I hate you, please get these kids out of here. It actually felt like, although he wasn't really that good a person, he still felt that these children needed him. So it's a very odd feeling that you get from the movie. And the movie is further complemented by the performance of Alexander, played by Jeremy Chabrier. Never heard of this guy before. Apparently he was born in France, but he's actually raised in Australia. He gives a phenomenal performance as well. chemistry between Vincent Cassel and Jeremy Chabriel's characters was fantastic. I felt that there was a genuine love there, but when Jeremy Chabriel's character Alexander starts to second guess what he is doing, you feel a lot of sympathy for this guy, and at the same time you feel a lot of sympathy for Gregori's the character of Gregori. So the chemistry between these two was fantastic, and there was a lot of inner turmoil between these two. You could see that there was a lot of conflict, and it keeps the film going without really a lot happening, because it gets you in a trance. It magically sort of sucks you into the story, and although nothing might be happening at one particular moment, it still makes you intrigued because of the eeriness that the film has and just the absorbing power that the movie has on you as well. There are some moments of violence, but the violence is few and far between. It really does show you, a psychological impact upon broken people. It has shades of the Manson family, but it doesn't follow a conventional sort of cult film. It's a very complex movie. It doesn't have a straight out plot. It's just a very disorientating sort of atmosphere, and all in all I just thought it was a very, very impressive film. There are problems to the movie. As I said, it doesn't follow a simple plot, so a lot of people might be a little bit taken back by that. Not a lot is explained. It really is a case of you joining the story and these characters not having to explain what's happened, because basically they already know what's happened. And I like films that do that. It's not very realistic at the start of a film if a character's going to go through his whole history just for the sake of the audience, because in reality this actual character knows everything. He doesn't have to explain anything. So this movie feels like one of those movies where you're joining in on a day in these people's lives, and that they know exactly what's going on, but you don't. So there's a level of mystery there that keeps it very unpredictable, and it's just a very bizarre experience that I had with Partisan. It's not a perfect film, but it's certainly an absolutely phenomenal start for Ariel Kleiman. I mean, yeah, as I said, the acting was brilliant, the cinematography was excellent, and it's just a very odd feeling that you get, a very uneasy feeling, but at the same time there's a contrasting difference between the beauty and the ugliness that combines very well, and it's definitely a movie that I would highly recommend. So overall for Partisan, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Go out there and see it. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.